Hello everybody, it's Connie. All right, just getting my camera set up. Noelle's here with me today. Say hi, Noelle.
Hi everybody.
So today is just a show and tell day, and I say just like it's nothing, but the truth is I've been making stuff like crazy and I want to show it off. And so today, the first thing I want to show off is some of the layouts that I've made. Somebody brought it to my attention that I showed these in the past, and they, for some reason, that video got deleted. Thank you, Facebook. So I decided, okay, I'm going to re-show these, and then I think next week I might actually make at least one of the layouts from this scrapbooking workshop because it's really great. Hi, Heather. Thank you for what? Thank you for just being me. Thank you, Heather. That's really nice. That's so blah. Anyway, so I just want to show you the Weekend Adventures workshop has like enough supplies to make these 3 2-page layouts. They are amazing. And you know, when I first looked at it, I'm like, this is my favorite right here, that one. And this is the one I would probably make, you know, for you or with you online. But the truth is, now that I have them all, I love them all, and I'm really happy with this workshop. The cool thing too about this one, I just want to show you, I have more than one workshop because part of my thing was to present this workshop at the Stampin' Up! Event in Peoria not very long ago. And so they sent me more than one workshop to work with, and I intentionally bought, and I had already bought one too, so I have like 3 of them. And so I had a lot of paper to work with. These papers in the kit are exclusive to the workshop kit, and you can't get them otherwise, and they're so amazing. You also get a bunch of punch out die cuts and stuff. I'll show you that next week because I got a lot of stuff I want to show you today. But anyway, when I did the Peoria thing, I showed this page as an example of how you can take a workshop page and tweak it just a little bit to your own photos. So, oh yeah. Oh, good. And you got your kit. So you can see this page right here is this one. And if I turn it sideways, you can kind of see how I made the exact same cut on the picture and on the page I made, but I flipped it. I had vertical photos. I liked how it looked with the paper going more horizontal on the page. And then I changed the title to be something more about what I would use. And you know, when you think of Weekend Adventures, you might look at the colors and you think camping, fishing, hunting, hiking, anything outdoors. And I wanted to show a lot of different ways to use this besides just camping. I don't camp, I don't fish, I don't hunt, I don't hike, I don't do any of this outdoor stuff, but Steve does do the racetrack thing. And so I really did think that this layout fit really well for his racetrack photos. So I used it on that. The extra, each kit has like an optional featured technique, and this one has twine. And so I tried to use twine on almost every page just to show how you can add it, and this linen thread is pretty amazing. So there's layout 1. Layout 2, I didn't change a whole lot. Let me just show you the photo of it finished right there. So you can see that there are strips of paper. It looks like a very simple, basic layout. And then the second one has like a blue giant mat with your photos kind of puzzle pieced on the top. And so I kind of did the same thing, but I wanted to use full-size photos. That is one thing that is kind of a big deal for me. So, for example, on this page, I made my own title, and just to make it look not quite so striking, it's so bare up there, I put a little ink blending at the top. You could add that to any of these pages just as an extra technique. I mixed up the stickers and a couple of the die cuts to different pages depending on which photos I was using so that it would fit my photos better. So, and then I used a flip flap to show the aurora lights from my backyard, which I thought were just really, really cool. In Illinois, seeing aurora lights, I think that's really neat. So I love how this one turned out. I didn't change hardly anything other than I made this blue like mat a little larger to accommodate the bigger photos. Okay, layout 3 is that one that I told you is like my favorite of the kit. And I don't know if it's just the colors or what, but I really do love this layout. And you can see, if you look at the layout here, I really didn't change a whole lot. What I did change, I'll point out to you. So on this page over here, you can see I cut all these pieces the same and basically followed the pattern from the workshop kit to do that. But this, right, the mats for my photos, I used the textured, what's that called? Textured, I think it's from the Textured Botanicals or Textured Moments. They have these rectangle dies that are really cool looking. And so that's what I matted my photos with. And this is a Disney layout, so I added some little Mickey heads to it. And then on this side, you can see I made that same triangle cut. I have the same piece here. The difference is I inked it up, and again, I changed out the titles and some of the stickers and things to accommodate my photos more. They all fit different photos that I had. I just had to move them to different layouts. So like the days well spent, I would use on something else. So I'm just saying, this is, I really love how this turned out. I loved using the twine on this page. That linen thread is so fun. I've already gone through 2 rolls of it over time because I use it on everything. I use it on everything. And so I just thought that one was really great. Now, also during my presentation in Peoria for the Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, you get a lot of leftovers when you cut this up. There's a lot of pages that, a lot of papers that you just have. And so I used the pieces and scraps to create another layout, and it screams Halloween and fall. So I have this one here, these papers that I had left, I pieced them together to make kind of a cool fall layout, and a lot of photos on this page. And again, some of that linen thread here and here. So I think that is pretty neat looking. I also made this page. This is a single page, which I thought was pretty good I wanted to use that zipper and the stamp sets that kind of coordinate with this, that adventure set, Taking the Scenic Route and Enjoy, Adventure Starts Here, some of those. There's also a little tiny dotted set that I stamped around the tops and bottoms of this page. I just think it turned out really, really nice, and it was a fun use of that zipper that I fell in love with and had to have, right? Okay, this is, I have two more. This one is another page that I showed the group where I took this is like, if you want to just go off the rails and do your own thing, which I often do, and you don't want to necessarily follow someone else's guide, I just did my own thing here. So I used the exclusive paper that came with the workshop. I love that early espresso with these papers, and I used that plaid embossing folder and sanded it so that you would get that cool textured look on the page. And then I kind of was, I know this is weird, but I was watching this like special about geode cakes. They were making geode cakes. And so I thought, that's fun, let's do that with the paper. And so you can see I kind of tore and rolled the green here and the white or the wood grain, and in the geode part I put that I don't know what you want, hiking travel type print in there, the brown print, and I think it almost looks like a hiking trail or something. It's really a neat look. I really like how this looked. And then this stamp set is the, what's the name of that? What's the name of that stamp set you were just using with all the little flowers? No, I don't remember the name of it. It's not daffodil something. Not that one.
Delightful Wishes?
Oh, Delightful Wishes. Yeah. So this is Delightful Wishes. And you can see I just stamped that in two-tone to coordinate with my photos. Since there was a lot of this kind of coral color, I added a triangle of the coral to my layout, and I think it looks nice. So lots of distressing and paper tearing and going all in on that one. And then about, I don't know, a month ago or so, I think it was Scrapbooks and Cards Today had a challenge where they showed a sketch. I think it was an Allison Davis sketch, and they wanted you to create a one-page layout. This is the one-page layout that I made. I added my own thing to it. I really like how this looks. And then I added a second page going the other direction. So, and then I just entered it into the contest. It was a random draw kind of thing. I did not win because it was a random draw, not because it was the, if it was the most beautiful one, it would surely have been me. Ta-da! Anyway, so those are the layouts that I wanted to share from the weekend adventures that I have made so far. And like I said, I will probably use my third pack to actually do the workshop with you, because in reality I do not have the original workshop pages. I tweaked all of these because the Stampin' Up! Company reps brought the original pages from this artwork for me to show. So I didn't have to recreate the originals, and I'm ready to. That'll be my next thing, I'm sure. It's on my list. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you today is I bought this I bought this big value pack from Doodlebug Press, and it is it's really cool. It's got lots of ephemera, lots of pieces, and I'm gonna dump it all over the floor. It's got tons of stuff, okay? And just enough paper to do like a stash buster. And so I went ahead, picking up the things I dropped on the floor. I went ahead and made some stash buster cards. to send to JJ for 4th of July. They had a whole pack of those, you know, paper flowers. And, you know, normally that's the kind of thing that I see at Daisy Lane and stuff a lot. People get rid of them because they don't know what to do with them. So I tried to use those up because I knew I wouldn't ever if I didn't now. So this one has a pinwheel. This one has a flower. I really love the paper. Look how cute Doodlebug is. Their paper's so cute. But I thought this was a great use of this kit, and I had a lot of fun putting it together. And you can see I just used that split front. That's so perfect for these pocket cards and tickets. Hip hip hooray. I was gonna put bling on them all, you know, like something flashy. But I think they're pretty blinged. They're pretty good the way they are. And so I made quite a few. I made it basically until my paper ran out. I just kept making more until I didn't have any paper left. I have so much embellishment left. God, if anybody needs more embellishments, I don't know what to do with all these. I'm not going to use them all, but I do really like these cards. I think they turned out super sweet and a lot of fun. There's another pinwheel. I made the little pinwheels. And I use brads. When was the last time you used a brad? I used a brad to attach that to the card. Yep, I used a brad. I can't believe it. It's been so long since I've used those. They had eyelets in this set and some clips. Lots of like there was a couple things of ribbon. Stickers galore. I think there were like 4 pages of stickers, little brads, just a lot of stuff. And I think the cards turned out really nice. And I wanted to show you those. Okay. A lot of you have been asking, I know, brads, can you believe it? I'm like, I haven't used those paper flowers for a long time, and I haven't used brads for a long time. These little paper style flowers, you know, they came in a little jar. Remember that? And they were stacked up, like you get 20 of them in there. All right, let's see. I'm looking at comments. Yeah, hi Nancy. How are you doing? All right, so I think a lot of you know I took the Jen Shirkus class, and I have received so many questions about what did you get, what was involved, how was the class, did you enjoy it? And I was feeling a little under the weather, like my back hurt, I didn't feel good that day, but I still cranked through as much as I could. So this was a full Saturday, full Sunday class. Like they started at like 9 in the morning and went until like 5 at night, both days. And then they had a bonus night on Friday night. That was like 3 hours. So it was really a long class. I don't know why. I think this came from Spellbinders, but it's like glittery fun foam. And we ran it through our die cut machine. I'll show you the examples. I am not going to keep this. My die cut machine did not like the detail of the dies that we used. I think it'd be better used a different way or for a more general thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's in the box. The first thing is we got this, let me zoom in a little so that you can really see things here. Okay, it's a little hard to see without a white background or something. There. All right, so we got this message set. This is from Picket Fence, and it's just a kind of a lot of different friendship style messages. You're the best neighbor. There's ordinary, and then there's you. Love your sass. You're so gorgeous. It was friendship at first sight. Your radiance is showing. I'm so lucky to know you. You're my everlasting friend. I smile brighter and laugh harder because of you. I love all of it. Those are great messages to have. And then we got a stencil that was made by Stuff by Belle, and it's this stencil right here. It's like a 6x6 stencil. And then Simon Says Stamp gave us this die that says, you brighten my day. This is the one that we cut on the fun foam. I know, look at that. It was really detailed, and it was hard to cut on fun foam. Had two, look at all those little openings and things. It was too detailed.
Did the letters even show up?
Yeah, I'll show ya.
Oh wow, that's
so
better than I thought.
We made this really, really cool background that's rainbow. We made multiple backgrounds that were rainbow. And then we used the stencil with black ink over the top of this one, and with gray, I think, on this one. Which is interesting, because if you look at it, it almost looks like it became the color of the background. Let me show Noelle.
Oh yeah.
And you can read it.
You can. I'm surprised.
Yeah. That was the hardest thing I did the whole weekend. I was like ready to just give up on that and go to glitter paper. It would have been easier. Or even regular paper and put stickles on the top. I mean, honestly, this was a lot. This right here. But the cards are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Very happy with that. And then we got some other backgrounds that we made that were like from that same stencil. Like while the stencil was wet, we threw some paper on it, and this was like the leftover ink. So that's kind of a cool effect. And I think it'll look really neat with some of my stamps. So I held on to them. I'm ready to work with those. Actually, I'm going to put those in my stash right now so I don't forget to use it. We got, yeah.
Is that like a second generation stamp, but with a stencil?
Yeah, so when you use distress, when you use distress inks and distress watercolors, a lot of it will transfer the first time you touch it down, but then if you spritz it with more water, it reactivates, and whatever's left on there will activate again, and so you get that second generation. It's like doing two prints, of a.
Cool.
So you guys might remember that I won a set of distress watercolor a while back. 2 years ago, 3, I don't know, it's been a while, but I won them, and then I bought one set, and so I put them in the colors of the rainbow so that they would be easier to use. I use them like this because that's how Jen Shirkus says to do it, and she is like the distress watercolor queen. So anytime you want to learn how to really use distress oxides and inks and pencils, watercolor pencils, I think she's the one to follow, because I can watch Tim for hours. He just plays and creates backgrounds and stuff, but she actually makes projects. And so I want to make them really practical, or I'll never get them out just to play. I don't have time for that. Okay, so this set is a Stampers Anonymous set from Tim Holtz Ranger, and it was exclusively made for this class. And what they do, apparently, because Jen works with Ranger so much, she was able to go into the vault and pick older images and pick and choose what she wanted on this sheet. And then they created this just for this retreat. So that's really a cool thing. So you got like the little guys on the bicycle and tickets and postage. Tell me how happy I am. And this is interesting, a little globe. Anyway, so we got a whole sheet of Tim Holtz stamps. And then with that, that was what we used during our play night on Friday, like our bonus. We made these backgrounds. This one is another blended background. And then we had like the little rainbow ticket. We used a lot of the Distress watercolor inks and a lot of the normal Distress ink. And then here again is a stenciled background. This is my favorite card, I think, of the whole thing. I just think it was so much fun to make, and it turned out so neat. And it's got I put stickles on it. Jen is all about the loose glitter, and she's very good at doing it, but I am not. I become a glitter bomb, and so I like stickles. I'm cool with stickles. So there's that. And this one is really fun. I thought maybe we should learn how to do this one on here as a, maybe, isn't it neat? I think this would be a really fun thing to do on top of that black and white paper pack from Stampin' Up, like a small rainbow-ish looking image on the front and then the floral on the edge. Anyway, I got some plans with this. I think we can make this one look really cool. Okay, the next thing we got is from Purple Onion, and it's hard to see because they're unmounted rubber. It's a little dog and a cat with a balloon and a little sending birthday wishes message. And this is the card we made. OMG, it is so gorgeous. I absolutely love it. Let me show Noelle.
Oh,
This one is really fun. If you don't own like a cloud stencil or a cloud, if you own a cloud die or anything, you can make a stencil. You could just cut this. I mean, I've shown you how to cut clouds before, but look at that. I absolutely love it. Great card. And it was so fun to learn how to do that. I'm not sure I've done that in rainbow before. We got this set from Pink and Maine. It's a little mermaid set. It's called Mermaid Friends. And I think this has not gone live to the public yet. I think it goes live, she said, in the future. I'm assuming like next month. See the... So there's like Ocean of Thanks, we're mermaid to be friends. And then we used the Copics. She's a major Copic colorer also, Jen Shirkus. Anyway, we used Distress watercolors to make the background. And then on these we used Copics to color. And you might notice she uses a lot of glitter. She uses a lot of white gel pen. She also really likes to use the glaze pen on eyes and stuff. That's like this clear glaze pen. I'm trying to move it so you can read it there. Glaze. And you could use a black glaze pen for the eyes, but there's just something like after you do all the coloring and all the work, sometimes the eyes get kind of washed out, and so she re-dabs them off with the glaze. Anyway, I think that one turned out really cute. She has a very unique style of doing Copic coloring, and she works with Lawn Fawn a lot, and so a lot of the coloring that you see her do is Copics with Lawn Fawn. And of course I did not use Copics. I used my Tri-Blends because that's what I have and I love. But this set is a die set from Honeybee, and it's one of their lovely layers die. They do a lot of layering dies where you cut out all the pieces and then you put them together to make a more dimensional piece. And here is the key to how they go together. And then it had this, we made this watercolor background. It was like a smoosh background using plastic packaging. And then there was this vellum die, and that's also from Honeybee, that looks like netting. And then all the cute little shells. Sorry, words are hard, man. Why can't I think of the word seashell? But anyway, she had a different message here, but I liked this one. And so there you go. There's that one. Then we got this set from Pink Fresh, and it's a floral. They have a lot of big florals. And whenever I see a set like this, I just cringe. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even going to do it because I'm like, I don't like to color these ginormous sets like this. But Jen showed a way to color this that makes it much, much faster. And it's going to improve my, it's going to improve me and it gets me out of my box. It changes the way I do things. And I'm really glad I took this class. So this one, you can see colored different greenery, different flowers, and glittered all the things. That's her saying, glitter all the things. And I just think,
I can see how that would really speak to you.
it's beautiful, yeah. And then I, of course, added the little black border because it just looked kind of plain without that, like, pen border. Yeah, I'm showing Noelle as I show you guys too, because she hasn't seen this box either. All right, so this is one of the new Lawn Fawn sets, and with the little kangaroos, and I love Rue so much. Hopping by to say, and then whatever, kangarific. I have a kangarific day. It's so cute. It's so cute. And so she does all of her Copic teaching on how to color, which, you know, when I watch most people teach Copics, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. You need 3 shades of everything.
Also need the Xanax.
Yeah, blend, 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 right? And so this is just she just has a different style, and her stuff always looks amazing, and I love learning from her how to color. So that was really fun, and we did this little background. This is the Lawn Fawn rainbow paper, and I added Have a Hoppy Day because I thought it was cute. Look at this little butterfly and the trail and everything. It was all pre-cut for us. We didn't have to cut anything. We didn't have to, no, we did not get die cuts for any of the stamps. They were on a discount if you decided you wanted them. Like if I want to go back and buy the die cuts for this, I sure could. But I don't really feel like I need to. I have that Brothers Scan and Cut. I'm going to try to stamp this whole thing and just cut it out and see if it works. But I love the little bitty messages. I heart Rue. That's so cute. I love the little boing and hop and bounce and flutter. I think they're really cute. So this one is a Dilutions set, and it is a dress and purses. It's really cute. I'm gonna put it sideways a little bit so you can actually see the whole thing. So I'm not having to move it around. And this was such a fun technique that we learned how to do. So we used the distress watercolor pencils to make the background and the foreground. And basically you take your pencil, whatever color, you know, that you are using, and you dampen it in your water, and then you rub it on your stamp and then stamp with it. And then you can use a watercolor, a brush, a paintbrush with a little water on it, and just pull that color from the lines.
It reminds me of the dress from Sleeping Beauty.
I was just gonna, yes, the
blue, pink.
I was thinking this looked like one of the princess dresses. It really does. I have no idea what all I would do with this dress. I mean, this is such an unusual stamp. This is the only one I got where I was like, ugh, I don't know. I'm not a purse girl. I'm not a dress girl. But I think this would be really cool as a giant stamp on the side of a Cinderella Castle page. Or
even like as a flip-flop where there's like a picture behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Like that would be cute too.
That would be good. Anyway, I think the actual dress, the actual card turned out really, really neat looking. So I was pretty happy with that. And then the next stamps that we got is from Newton's Nook. Newton being this cute little cat. And I love Newton's Nook stamps. I mean, it's hard to pick what one you like better. They're all so cute. This one, he's on the beach with the sand dollar, and Jen Shirkus she calls herself a mermaid. So a lot of her stuff is water and beach themed. But we made this really neat background with watercolor pencils. It's great, right? We did this one with the watercolor. And then this paper right here is an embossed wood grain paper. Now, Stampin' Up! Sells this embossed wood grain, and everybody's like, what do you do with it? I don't know how well it sells, but it's still around. It's still in the catalog. And what we did with it, there were planks cut from it, so it looks like kind of like a dock. And this was actually from Honeybee Stamps, I think, this die, and it makes like a frame. So it's like, you know, the framed piece, you know, and she used the frames to make planks. And you know, it's like, and then we used watercolor to kind of follow along some of the wood grain. So I think it turned out cool. And then this, I colored with watercolor, but she colored with Copic. Actually, I did a combo of watercolor and Copic on that because I wanted more detail. And then, of course, I used stickles because glitter. Yay. Anyway, I thought that was a good set. And you could get the dies for that separate and everything. I mean, all of these, you could get the dies. I just haven't. This one I'm considering getting the dies for. I'm on the fence. They're sold out right now because this was an exclusive right now through Colorado Craft Company for this class. But it's just, at first I'm like, no, I won't keep this. What would I do with this? And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I love everything. I love the little kitties. I love the inner part, or the little landscape through the window. I love all the plants. You know, I'm all about the plants. And the window itself, I really actually really like this set. So I need to just use it. We made this really cool watercolor background. And then this was already pre-stamped, so we colored that. And then look at the inside. Yeah, it was really fun. It was fun to make.
About Pooh Bear illustration.
Oh yeah, like Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. One thing about this class that was so unique and different from other classes I've taken is that we spent one entire day doing nothing but backgrounds. We didn't finish a single card until Sunday at like 1 o'clock. So we did backgrounds and coloring and just all kinds of stuff before we even made a card. This was the only homework. This is a Spellbinders die. It was one of their large dies of the month. I definitely am not keeping this one. So for sale. But I just, only because I have so many, flowers, but this one is a really nice one because look how big and bold the flowers are. And when you watercolor to color, it's so fast. And so this is an interesting way to do this, but we used watercolor paper and we die cut all the flowers and left them in the sheet. We didn't pop them out, and then watercolored them while they were in the sheet. And that way you could get all sloppy. I mean, you could just, and there's no detail, fussy watercoloring. And the only detail watercoloring on here was we did some darkening at the center of the pink flower and these little tiny yellow lines on the white flower. And after that, it was like, I mean, this card really, other than die cutting all the pieces, which takes a minute, it really came together very quickly considering all the pieces that were in this card. But it's very pretty. This would be a good assembly line style. So anyway, gotta show that. Last one. This is a Gina K set. I have it in there upside down. Sorry. Called Floral Wishes. And I have not a clue if this is exclusive to this or if it's a new one coming out or if it's an old one. I don't know. But this stamp right here is big. It's a big old mama. Look at that. It's bigger than my hand. And so she showed how to do that if you don't have a block, if you don't have a stamp positioner. You know, just, I've done this a lot on my, I'm lazy. I don't like to get out the big blocks and stamp positioners. So I flip them over on my glass mat, ink them up, and then I lay my paper onto it. And that's what we did. And same with the dress. The dress was like that too. Is that dress, I mean, that stamp is huge. So anyway, look at that. God love me some postage.
That dress would be cute for a Barbie layout.
Oh, that would be really cute.
Like a whole Barbie layout.
I think, I'm wondering if, I'm wondering if it's online somewhere where I could look it up and see what other people have done with it. I don't know. I know on the Jen Shirkus thing, her actual classes are on YouTube, but she has a Facebook group where you share all of your creations or how you tweaked things or whatever. But I absolutely love this card. The colors in it, everything about it, absolutely gorgeous. And it was watercolor, another watercolor. There was a pretty good mix of watercolor versus stamping, or Copic coloring, and lots and lots of cool things, you know. Okay, last thing. Look at me. Yeah, that'd be great. The last thing I want to show you is something I'm going to make Friday this week. Not all of it, because it takes a couple hours. But I made this little book for Jen because I really wanted to... I don't know where I put my file folder. I made this out of a manila file folder. Now, a few years ago, there were thank you. There were so many people who came out with all these folds and flaps and little mini junk journals and books and things. And as soon as I saw the gallery blooms, that paper, I felt like I didn't want to totally cover it up. And it reminded me of a junk journal kind of thing or a distressed journal kind of thing. And so I'm going to show you guys how to take like a file folder on Friday and, you know, make a mini album out of it. And then you can fill it however you want. And then this one, I showed it to Jen and she just lit up. She was so excited. So Jen's been going to the historical museum, the Champaign County History Museum. And I love this print, so I made it the front. And I just added little pieces of stuff I had sitting around. So here's a key and a button. And this is a wood button. This is a brad. Yes, I used another brad. Look at that. And a clip, one of the little Tim Holtz clips. I thought she could clip stuff to it. And then on the inside, I didn't want to cut up her books from the Historical Society. There was a lot of old pictures of the city. But I did take a photo of it and then printed that. And I thought that could be distressed. She could put anything in that clip. And then here is the cattle bank where they are located in downtown Champaign. And I have a lot of those little, you know, ephemera pieces. This is from my stash. You may recognize that from last year when I did all those leaves and stuff. I just pulled out of my stash. And then there's a pocket and I made a little book. It's very similar to that one that I made when I did the storybook layouts. And I distressed it with ink, made it look old. And then Altgeld Hall at the U of I had this leftover message from when I was doing the fairies and mushroom stamps, the magic is in you. And I put it on that page because Altgeld is thought to be haunted. I thought that was funny. And then there's a pocket in the top of this page. And I went ahead and made like a little pull-out. It says moments and story, and I used like just a little safety pin and some of my fibers, can you believe that? Look how old those are. And then you can recognize this paper from that Gallery Blooms pack. Like I said, I didn't want to cover it all up. It's so beautiful, but I wanted to use it. And, boy, it really is hard to do this upside down. I'll do that later. Okay, and then the next page, a lot of the Champaign County history has to do with railroads. And this last month, they had this huge railroad display. And so I made this page about the railroads. She can journal. Next month, they're doing that Dottie lady from League of Their Own.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Yep. She is from this area, I guess. And so they're doing a whole display about women's baseball. Softball. No, it was baseball. It was baseball.
You're
and
right.
They said the movie was so wrong. The guy who works there is very fascinating to listen to. Anyway, then there's another pocket, and I decided to leave this pocket kind of open so that she could just slide in postcards. Look.
Oh, I remember when that was first built.
I know. This is the park they just tore down.
Yeah,
and redid, and the kids used to call it the Castle Park because it was so big, it looked like a castle when you would walk up to it.
Huge.
It was huge, and it drove me crazy because your kid would be somewhere in it, and
You could see 'em.
yeah, you could never find them. But anyway, this Gallery Blooms paper looks amazing on this. And then this is a Vriner's confectionery in town. It's like a candy store that, I just thought that was really cute. And of course I had to use the peony paper because it's my favorite. And I just did a little message on that. Ta-da! What do you think of that? That is something. I think this is outstanding. And this is, I know.
I love little things like that.
I know. I was like This is exactly the kind of thing that people in their 20s are into. Like if you really want to get somebody into paper crafting, you've got to make something small and something they're into. And these little journals like this where they collect trinkets in their grandma's buttons and, you know.
You could do one that's like a Chicago day trip, and you put in like the little pamphlets
Oh, that'd be
from
fun.
the different museums and stuff. And,
Yeah.
And
Can you guys hear
pictures.
her okay? Yeah. Hey, hand me that Disney thing right there. Careful, it tipples a little bit. So I did another little mini book class. This one I just did on my own, and I'll show you Friday. But I wanted to show you this one also. This is a spinning scrapbook box, and you make this little drawer. It's all made from scratch using chipboard, and then each little album pulls out, and you can put photos and things in. I haven't yet, but I will. And it just, it makes a really cool display, and you can just pull out one little, they're all basically the same. And then of course the little drawer at the bottom is perfect for like memorabilia or something, and you don't have to do it Disney themed. I did it Disney themed, but you know, you can do any, it's got like a spinner on the bottom.
It'd be cute to make just for someone as a baby shower gift, and then they can fill it full of like the first year's photos, like, you know, 1 to 2 months, 2 to 6.
That's a great,
No.
that's a great idea. This is like one of those things that you display, and you know, it's just a cool thing to see when you walk in the room. All right, so on Friday, I'm going to show you how to fold this. I wish I had time to make another manila, like another actual book, to show you just a totally different example. Like if I used totally, you know, the teals and pinks and yellows and oranges and summer colors, it would look totally different from this. You could use the boho vibes papers, and it would have a cool look. I found a whole bunch of photos from the 70s and toys and things that we've used when we were growing up, and I thought that a little book like that would be so fun just to have to flip through and see, you know, Dapper Dan. Remember Dapper Dan? Oh my God. All the little toys and stuff from the 70s. And my sister was into Mrs. Beasley. That was her. And she also had a Bugs Bunny doll, and you pulled on a cord and it said, "What's up, Doc?" It was really cute.
It'd be fun to, like, lots of people collect Pyrex now, and I think that pattern of stack of paper would go well to make a little book about like your finds.
Oh, like your hobbies or your
Yeah, like,
collections,
yeah,
your
where you found them
collection.
and-
Oh yeah. You know what I considered doing with one of these, maybe multiple, because is putting my cross stitch photos on them, because I cross stitch like a maniac. I have so much cross stitch, and it would be really cool to tell the story of each piece that I've made, you know, what pattern I used, what year I stitched it, you know, that kind of thing. I just think that would look really great. Anyway, Friday is the day for that. It doesn't take too long to fold it. And there's 100 ways. Like if you go to YouTube and look up manila file folder books, oh my gosh, there's probably, I mean, I flipped through at least a dozen. And the reason I chose this one is because of all the pockets. I knew my daughter had a lot of ephemera stuff to put into the pockets, more than photos. So, okay, thanks for joining me today. Thank you, Noelle, and thanks for sticking with me. Oh my gosh, an hour of showing you stuff. Are you guys overwhelmed? My voice is hoarse. Okay, I will see you Friday. Bye-bye.